playing for college football's national championship. But just because we got the answers doesn't mean we're out of questions. Basically, it came down to 2 spots for 3 teams, Alabama, Notre Dame, and Miami. The Hurricanes were on the outside looking in entering the weekend. The committee pulled the stunner, put them ahead of Notre Dame yesterday. The Irish are staying home. Miami and Alabama get in. You see the rest of them up there. We have lots of time to talk about this, and we have all the right people to do it. Jordan Rogers made the trip up to be with us in our studio in New York. We appreciate it. Pate is up with us early this morning. Danny is ready to go. And Heather is there, having covered all of it yesterday. And Heather, you texted me that you spoke to Pete Bavacqua, who is the Notre Dame athletic director, just moments ago. What did he tell you?
Well, when asked how he felt this morning, he said worse, and it's going to get worse and worse. He said it's about doing what's right for the team and for the coaches. He said who were led to believe in each and every CFP ranking that they would have the chance to compete for a national championship in the next few weeks. That was taken from them without any rationale or acceptable explanation, and that all hurts worse today than it did yesterday. Everyone has said that we're one of about 2 to 3 teams that could win it, and now we have a 0% chance of proving that.
That was the words of the Notre Dame AD this morning. While she was reading that, Jordan, I could sort of see you shaking your head out of the corner of my eye. Why?
The rationale is you lost to Miami in a head-to-head matchup, and when all the metrics are right next to each other, because all those Notre Dame and Miami were neck and neck in every black and white metric that you can put on paper. They lost to Miami. The problem is they should have been behind Miami a lot earlier, so the drama was 100% avoidable if the committee 3 weeks ago, when they were 13-9, had gone, okay, head-to-head matters, let's put Miami ahead, and then you didn't give Notre Dame false hope. But this is 100% the correct decision. It was gone about the wrong way, and that led to the drama.
Josh Pate, I'm going to reframe the question. There were 3 teams fighting for 2 spots, essentially. There were 2 spots available for the combination of Alabama, Notre Dame, and Miami. Did the committee put the right 2 in?
They did put the right 2 in. It's got to boggle the mind of people who are not college football fans to listen to this, because a lot of us are saying, they got the right teams in, at least according to how I feel. And then they're also hearing us tell, yeah, Notre Dame should be upset. Yeah, Notre Dame fans should be irate. And they're like, well, I thought you said the committee got it right. The product was right, at least in my estimation. The process was fumbled horrifically. And so anybody, including the athletic director or anyone associated with Notre Dame who are saying we got cheated, they got every right to feel that way, because simple logic tells you anything you said, anything Hunter Yurachek and that committee said about the head-to-head of Miami and Notre Dame yesterday would have easily as readily applied the week before that, or the week before that, or the week before that. And so to pretend that you didn't possess the mental capacity as a committee to judge those teams head-to-head until the 11th hour, to suggest you didn't have the mental capacity to see them for what they were until Brigham Young got picked up and removed, it is like a dereliction of duty to what you're supposed to be doing with these playoff reveal shows and ranking shows, which is slowly and methodically explaining your process. Instead, you just muddied the water more.
Dan, what do you think?
Notre Dame should have been in over Alabama. I'm 100% on board having Miami in because of that head-to-head point. But Notre Dame should have been in over Alabama. I understand the 3-loss SEC title game. Don't penalize. Let's get rid of title games for conferences if they don't matter, and we're not going to penalize teams. Alabama hasn't played good football in a month. When I was on Friday's show, I said, man, if Alabama gets boat raced, I would leave them out. They got boat raced. I mean, they were down 21. It's the 3rd quarter with like 3 minutes to go. It's 4th and 1 on their own 40, and they punt it. Why do you think they punted, America? So they don't get smoked by more. They didn't look good in that game. They didn't look good against Auburn. They didn't look good against OU. Shoot, they didn't look good against LSU like 5 weeks ago. I think Notre Dame unequivocally is a team that people can sit there and say, yes, they can win a national title. The way Alabama has played, they are not a team right now, at least in the last 4 or 5 weeks. They're not a team that could win a national championship.
Heather, the rationale of the decision, the reasons behind the decisions are what people are wondering. For those who didn't watch all the coverage yesterday and everything, how were these decisions we're talking about explained by the committee?
So I talked to Hunter Yurachek, the committee chair, after this happened yesterday, and I asked him specifically to what the guys are saying. How do you explain the fact that every week you said Notre Dame was a better football team in that room, and on a weekend that they didn't play, you changed them? And his answer, Greeny, was proximity, because when BYU lost and Miami was ahead of them, then you have them side by side. And as for Alabama and what Dan's saying and not dropping, he said there was a sense in the room that Alabama should not be punished for playing in the SEC championship game.
So I see, again, everyone shaking their heads as she is saying all of that. Why are you shaking your head?
Josh made the point. What do you mean proximity? They had to be next to each other? What you don't realize is they group these teams together as they're evaluating. Again, 2 or 3 weeks ago, that should have been the conversation. The metrics are the same. Who won the game on the actual field?
Right.
Miami did. But to Dan's point about Alabama and Notre Dame, here's a good fix for you, Notre Dame. Get in a conference. You could have lost a conference championship as a 10-2 team with how much the committee loved you, and you'd be in.
Yeah, they should be in the Big Ten. Notre Dame should join the Big Ten.
Yeah, or the ACC, or any conference if they want to. They're never going to do it because
Josh,
totally.
But last year they got it in the national championship game. They got to keep $20 million all to themselves. They're not joining a conference no matter what happens. Pate, I want to ask you a question because sometimes we wonder about ulterior motives, for lack of a better word. Miami gets in because the ACC, some people will say one of the reasons to put Miami in is because otherwise the ACC doesn't have a team in. In your heart of hearts, do you believe that factored into this?
Yes, but I know that the pushback will be from the committee, and I understand what the talking point was from them. Yes, I believe that to be true. It doesn't even have to be stated. No one in the room has to state it. I think in the subconscious of anybody who is looking at the major college football landscape, the knowledge that you're going to put 2 G5 teams in while simultaneously looking in the eyes of a legitimate Power 4 conference and saying, no, you're out. I don't think that was going to be palatable. So I in advance, I understand what Heather can say because she talks to every one of them. I know what every one of them would say about it. I also know that I believe in my heart of hearts, yes, that factored in. That's why I told you that last Wednesday. If Duke were to win the ACC, that I thought was Miami's best shot, along with Brigham Young losing, not just Brigham Young losing.
As concisely as possible, Heather, can you explain why James Madison is in this tournament? With all respect to their kids, they played a great season. They did everything within their power. None of this is meant to be a detriment to them, or whatever word it is I'm looking for. But they're a 20-something point underdog against Oregon. This is not college basketball where it's sort of the flavor of the 1 versus 16 game. It gets hidden amongst a bunch of other games. This is one of the few remaining games they have remaining. Very quickly, Heather, for people who are wondering, why are they in, and is that something that could be changed?
It's the 5 highest ranked conference champions. And when JMU was ranked at 25 and Duke was not, that made them the 5th highest ranked conference champion. They're not going to put a 5-loss champion, even if it is from the ACC.
So that's the point. So now we wind up with that. How do we feel about that, Dan?
There should only be one group of 5 team that's in the playoff. Well, again, they got to be a top 10
to
team.
be clear,
and undefeated.
Heather's point.
Not just ranked,
the
but
AC,
top 10.
Correct.
It's the ACC that screws that up. James Madison winds up being ranked higher than the ACC's champion. They didn't put in 2 group of 5 teams on purpose.
But still, so let's imagine Virginia wins that, and they're in. Virginia's not better than Notre Dame or Texas or Vandy.
I truly
we don't have the 12 best teams.
Notre Dame and Texas should be in. Instead of not being disrespectful, both James Madison and Tulane.
Yeah.
We could be honest that those 2 spots are being wasted on those 2 programs that deserve a meaningful game. But the other point, this is Greeny, like when it comes to the conference title game in the SEC.
Yeah.
So who determines what conference title game penalizes the loser and not? Like when he says we're not going to penalize Georgia for being the SEC title game, then why do other conferences penalize the loser, Alabama for being the conference title game? How come Alabama's the only team to lose their conference championship game in the last 3 years out of the 16 teams that have played and been in the top 25 and not get moved down?
Agreed that maybe they should be moved down and Miami should be ahead, but the caveat there is Alabama was within the cut line of the 10 teams, because the 2 group of 5 would be the top 12, before the championship. BYU was out. We're not penalizing BYU for losing. We're just not rewarding them for losing that game by putting them up into the race.
I'm with that.
Josh Pate, what is your reaction to Notre Dame deciding to skip the bowl games then entirely? They're not going to play any postseason.
Oh, well, I mean, I hate it with every fiber of my being. I'm not going to go as far as to say I don't understand it, though. I think I do understand it. But look, from a competitive standpoint, it is a fact that there are seniors on that team who thought they had at least one more football game in their careers whose careers are now over. And the other part of that is, since the beginning of time, bowl games, postseason play has mattered for your true freshmen that you're getting ready to play next year. And that just got tossed on the scrap heap, not for the same reasons that like your Iowa States of the world aren't playing. Their coach left and whatnot. This is just, we didn't make the playoffs, so we're not going to play. I hate it, but it is what it is, I guess.
Heather, final word.
Two very important points here, Greeny. One, as for the runner-up of the conference championship game, all losers are not created equal. BYU got smacked twice by the same team. Alabama went on the road and beat the SEC champs during the regular season. Second major point, everyone needs to know this. This is not going to happen again to Notre Dame because they are protected for the next 6 years. If they finish in the top 12, they will be in the playoff if it's a 12-team playoff. Second thing, in the future, the 4 conference champions from the 4 major conferences will be in the college football playoff. This is from a memorandum of understanding. It will be different next year.
Which means that, just to make sure I'm clear, that would have been Duke, right? So Duke would be in right now.
Correct.
Instead, in theory, instead of James Madison. So Josh Pate, that obviously will solve all our problems, right? Now we got everything.
Notre Dame would be in ahead of Miami. No, Miami.
Right. Yeah, and Notre Dame would be. Yeah. So
the
in that
ACC will fix its tiebreakers.
Say it again.